Hey guys, come make fire cider with me. I'm sure you've heard of it, but if you haven't, fire cider is a immunity full just powerhouse of all the things that have all the best nutrients for you during the cold and flu season. It is just an absolute powerhouse here. That is some horseradish root. That was a little bit hard for me to find. But you want to make sure that you use the most organic ingredients that you can. This is a fire cider recipe is something that you're going to throw together, and it's going to steep for about 4 to 5 weeks, after which you will use a cheesecloth and you will strain it into little jars, and then as you need it through the winter and fall, you will take a shot or two a couple times a day. So here are all the ingredients, and let's get started. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to peel the horseradish. This is probably the most difficult part of making fire cider. Horseradish root is extremely difficult to work with. You're going to want to wear gloves, and you're going to want to have a well-ventilated area. It's just a very kind of abrasive abrasive root vegetable. So after you've done the horseradish root, you're going to want about a cup of that. You're going to want to put that in a large vessel. I'm using just a gallon-sized jar because it's what I had available, but you can use, you can break this down into just put it in a bowl to start with, and then you can put it in a couple quart jars. After the end of the 5 weeks, you're going to want to strain it off with cheesecloth, and then you will put it in smaller containers, and then that's how you'll take, shots or spoonfuls of it. So now I am cutting up ginger. You're going to just want to roughly chop the ginger, and you're going to want to do a cup of that as well. So here I am cutting up the ginger. No need to really wear gloves. If you want, you can just keep gloves on the whole time. I find them extremely cumbersome, so I put them on during the times when I felt that I needed them. Another little pro tip is the turmeric, which is going to be what I cut up next. It is extremely staining, so if you have a cutting board that you are absolutely in love with, do not use it to cut your turmeric because it will stain it. Here it is. This is the only thing that I could find that I couldn't find that were organic. I just couldn't. I'm pretty limited. We have some Whole Foods around us, but they're quite far away. So I did get some of my stuff organic, but turmeric was not one of them. So again, I just washed them, and then right before I cut them, I was like, whoops, put some gloves on. So I just did that, and here you can see me. You only need about a quarter cup of turmeric. What I did was I roughly chopped some, and then I did put some through the shredder just because it has a really great flavor, and I wanted to make sure that I had as much of that flavor coming out in the fire cider mix. So here you can see I'm just measuring a little shy of a quarter cup, and then I'm going to fill in the rest with some shredded turmeric. Next, we're just gonna roughly chop an onion. It doesn't really matter what onion you use. To be honest, I'd probably choose red onion if I had it. It's just better medicinally, but I only had some yellow onions today, so that's what I used. It's really not a significant difference, but if you have red and yellow, I would choose the red. So you can just roughly chop that. Obviously, you can discard the skin. What's great is if you have chickens especially, a lot of this waste is just going right into my chicken bin, and I will take that out to them, and they will get a nice little immunity boost right along with us. So that's great. And also, when this mix is discarded after the 4 or 5 weeks, when you go to strain this off, which I'll post a video of me doing that next, so you can see exactly how I do that. You can give all that waste to your chickens also. It's really, really great. In this household, we really strive to have as minimal waste as possible, and it's great because the things that we feed our chickens that are fresh from our house, that cuts down on feed costs. And we live in a time where you know that everything costs a lot of money. You know, prices are going up. It's, you know, pretty obvious. If you haven't noticed the increases in pricing, I don't know where you've been the last 2 years, but as prices continue to rise, we try to, you know, stretch everything. So for this recipe, the garlic is really a preference. I use about 12 cloves of garlic, I think is what I use during this. I just use 2 heads of garlic. I mean, if you aren't sure and you are a measurement type of person, just grab 2 heads of garlic. That should be adequate. These are not large, they're just normal size garlic, but if you don't know how to peel garlic, this is the easiest way. You take your knife, be careful not to cut yourself, but you put the flat head of the knife down and you just smash, and it makes peeling the garlic much simpler. If you have a garlic press, that is totally fine too. I would not recommend using like store-bought jarred garlic in like an olive oil or even a water. You really want fresh, organic, non-diluted garlic for this recipe. Garlic is a medicinal powerhouse in itself, and so if you were going to get anything organic, I would make the garlic probably be one of the top things for this recipe that I would make that are organic. So this also can be roughly chopped. You don't need to mince it. You don't even need to cut it in half. Like you can see here that I'm cutting it 2 ways. Not necessary. I was just doing it. I was listening to a podcast at the time, and I was just, it was nap time, and I just was like, you know what, it's fine. I'll just cut this up a little bit more. So that's what I'm doing here. You're also going to want to use 1 orange and 1 lemon. If you feel like the need to go and do a little bit more, I would say add another orange. So if you've had fire cider before, it is an acquired taste. I wouldn't say that I would be interested in drinking it all the time. It is strong. I mean, it's spicy, it's strong. I mean, you can tailor it to your personal preferences. But to get the full benefits of fire cider, you really just need to add all the things in it. You can make it a little bit less pungent by adding some more oranges. A lot of time you can make it a little bit more palatable by just adding honey when you go to serve it. So you would pour a shot size into a little cup, and you could add a spoonful of honey, mix it up, and kind of down it that way. But here's the thing. Fire cider is not something, I mean, you could technically have fire cider every day of your life, but I pretty much, with my family, we take it just during the fall and winter months, and it's just something that we're doing. It's a preventative. It's like taking your vitamins. It keeps you well. Here you can see I'm adding 3 sprigs of rosemary, about 6 to 8 sprigs of thyme, depending on how large the sprigs are. This is, again, all this is optional. Fire cider is seriously whatever you want to do, however you want to make it. This is the way I do it. I add some peppercorns towards the end, just a few, nothing crazy. I hope this helped, gave you some ideas. I added about 6 cups of raw organic apple cider vinegar. And you can find lots of recipes online, but this is the one that we use for our family. And I will come back in a couple weeks and I will show you how we strain it. I hope you guys are enjoying these first bursts of fall weather where you live. This recipe was adapted from goodfoodbaddie.com. That's goodfoodbaddie.com. Also want to make a quick note that you want your fire cider to be fully submerged. So if you need to put a weight on it, you can get fermenting and pickling weights on Amazon or pretty much anywhere else, or you can just use, some heavy ceramic mugs or things like that. But if you do push down hard enough, it should eventually submerge. I had to add a few additional cups of apple cider vinegar just because I was struggling with my oranges. All right, that should be it. If you have any questions, I'm always happy to answer them. You can email me info@faithhomestead.com. Again, that's info@faithhomestead.com. Bye now.